Picture this. An early morning, the port of Seward, Alaska. A massive cruise ship is slowly approaching the dock. Hundreds of passengers line the decks, snapping photos of the scenery, sipping their morning coffee. Nothing unusual, until someone looks down, directly at the ship's bow. Something is wedged there, dark gray, motionless, over 60 feet long. That is how, on June 19, 2026, the Royal Caribbean liner Ovation of the Seas delivered a cargo no one expected, the body of a dead fin whale. And no one yet knew why it had died. The cruise that ended with this grim discovery departed Vancouver, British Columbia on June 12, 2026 at 8 p.m. The itinerary was a classic 7-night northbound Alaska route, charting a course deep into one of the most breathtaking wildernesses on the planet. The first stop was Sitka, a small Alaskan town of striking beauty, shaped by centuries of Tlingit traditions, home to Sitka National Historical Park with its iconic totem poles, and framed by the dramatic silhouette of Mount Edgecumbe, a dormant volcano rising from the sea. From there, the ship sailed north to Juneau, Alaska's state capital, a city accessible only by sea or air, flanked by mountains, tundra, and rainforest. Passengers explored the Mendenhall Glacier and the rugged trails that crisscrossed the surrounding wilderness. The next port of call was Skagway, a legendary town frozen in the spirit of the Klondike Gold Rush, where visitors can still ride the historic White Pass and Yukon Route narrow-gauge railway through dramatic mountain scenery. After Skagway, the Ovation of the Seas made its most awe-inspiring passage, a scenic cruise past Hubbard Glacier, one of the largest tidewater glaciers in North America. Passengers watched in silence as colossal chunks of ice calved from the glacier wall and crashed into the steel-gray sea below. The final destination was Seward, a picturesque harbor town and the gateway to Kenai Fjords National Park. It was here, on the morning of June 19th, that the voyage came to an unexpectedly dark end. As the ship entered the port of Seward, crew and passengers made a disturbing discovery. A dead adult fin whale, 61 feet in length, was wedged against the ship's bow. The massive animal had been carried, unknowingly, all the way into port. Marine conservation officials later suggested the whale may have been pregnant, adding another layer of tragedy to the incident. Photographs of the carcass quickly spread across Reddit, with one post attracting nearly 300 comments. The fin whale is an endangered species, the second largest animal on Earth after the blue whale. NOAA's Office of Law Enforcement, the Alaska Department of Fish and Game, and the Alaska Sea Life Center launched an immediate investigation to determine the cause of death. Two key scenarios are being examined. The first, the ship struck a living whale during its voyage. The second, the whale had already died from disease, a previous injury, or another vessel strike, and its body was floating at the surface when the Ovation of the Seas made contact. To find the answer, scientists performed a necropsy on the animal. The critical evidence lies in internal bruising and bone fractures. If the injuries are consistent with a living animal at the time of impact, the conclusion points toward a fatal collision. If no such signs are found, the whale likely died before the ship ever reached it. One self-described merchant mariner who commented on Reddit put it bluntly, "Spotting a whale at night is nearly impossible, and most radar systems are not calibrated to detect objects sitting at the waterline, especially those that do not reflect a signal." Royal Caribbean Group issued an official statement. "We are saddened to learn that one of our ships encountered a whale en route to Seward. We take any impact on marine ecosystems very seriously." The vessel immediately reported the incident to the relevant authorities. The company confirmed it is cooperating fully with NOAA and awaiting the final necropsy results. NOAA's Fisheries Enforcement Office also issued guidance to the public. Residents and tourists are asked to stay away from the necropsy site to allow scientists space to collect samples safely. Additionally, federal law under the Endangered Species Act strictly prohibits collecting any part of a whale, tissues, baleen, or bones. The only exception applies to Alaska Native communities gathering materials for subsistence or traditional crafts.